500 years ago, a country, Bharat, which is now called as India, was the richest country. But yes, it is not the richest now because we are not following our education system, which we had Gurukul education system. We were richest because we had this as our foundation. We had the best universities, and so this attracted the invaders like Mughals and Britishers. They all came here with one intention to loot us. And how did they start with? By focusing on our education system. Mr. Macaulay in the parliament in 1835 said openly that I have roamed across India. We cannot conquer this country unless we destroy their education system. So then on, they imposed a new education system. They imposed and they also motivated the parents. They said stories that if you send your kids to school, they will get employment, they'll get steady income, and they'll get a job. Now, this was a great story where the parents then got motivated, and even now the parents are motivated with the job mindset and employment mindset. Even now, people are okay to leave a big business and get a government job. But things are changing. Things are changing. Here is one example. How many of you have seen this web series? One of my favorite web series. The word here is scam, scam 1992. Scam is a negative word. Harshad Mehta is presented in a negative way, but this director made this web series in such a way that most of the youth got motivated and started taking stock broking as their career. And now you see, people are trying to become independent when they are kids itself. There are coaching centers. Usually, there were coaching centers saying that coaching for class 8, 9, 10, UPSC. Now you see coaching centers for stock broking also. So things are changing. That's the power of storytelling, which this movie did. Then there is another web series, Shark Tank. Here comes the mindset of startup. Now, after this series, which started in Sony Live, parents do not say, why startup? They say, what is the idea and how are you starting? So this is considered to be a new UPSC. Like what he said, Orange? Yeah. So startup is a new UPSC. And I remember my days when I started my own startup in 2016. And when I remember the steps I followed, I feel like a simpleton. I didn't know the way to start. And that's the reason I chose to do a podcast on this. There are a lot of students who are planning to have their startup. And so I decided to do a podcast on startup as a career. So I have a coach who volunteered to speak on this. So here is a short video. Out of 1 hour, 16 minutes, I have tried to make it more interesting. So please watch this video. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to our channel Smart Career Goals. Welcome to our channel Smart Career Goals. In this channel, we make contents on various career opportunities. Namaste to you everyone. My name is Srinivas and I am the founder and CEO of Smart Sutra and Smart Career Goals. Today's topic is startup as a career. And this is not a regular video. In fact, it is going to be a podcast. After 3 years, I'm going to do a podcast with a very special person. His name is Dr. Prakash Moogly. He is an award-winning entrepreneur, founder and CEO of Energy Group. He is a TEDx speaker, a microwave expert, and most importantly, he is a startup coach. So let us dive into the podcast now. There is a lot of myth in the students community. There are students who are starting a pani puri stall, a tea stall, and they call themselves as a startup founder for it. So what is the real difference between a business and a startup? Because most of the online gurus also say that if you are a YouTuber, even that is a startup. If you are an affiliate marketer, even that is a startup. I want your views on these things. Now, someone takes a franchisee model of a tea stall and he starts. Will that be a business model or a startup?
It could be probably termed as a small business that you're starting. because that franchisee creation is not done by you.
Hmm.
The whole concept of franchisee, or the whole process of coming up with an idea and then giving it some shape
Hmm.
and giving it some structure
Hmm.
and proving it in terms of a revenue model, and after that proof that somebody has come to you to sell the franchisee.
Hmm.
And when you take the franchisee as a franchisee, franchisee owner, not as a franchisor, when
Hmm.
you are a franchisee and you take that model, you're basically taking a proven revenue model
Correct.
and you are becoming part of that.
Correct.
So, in that sense, I wouldn't call it as a startup.
Hmm.
But is it an independent business where you are starting and you are generating your own revenue? Yes, it's a small business you are getting into.
Correct.
And apart from the fact that it's a proven track record, it's a proven business model,
Hmm.
just everything you have to manage on the operational level. So,
Hmm.
yes, it's a business, but perhaps not a startup idea.
When I have an idea and I have fund,
Hmm.
or else I have a family who will support me, or some family friend will support me. Should I
Hmm.
take this support, or should I go and ask for the angel investors, or go and ask for some funds outside?
No, so if your idea is, ready for pitching, and if you
Hmm.
have the clarity, how do you want to build it? I would
Hmm.
always vouch for going and pitching to an angel,
Hmm.
uh, which is perhaps the first step
Hmm.
for any entrepreneur to go to ask for funds.
Hmm.
Simply because when an angel investor evaluates you as an
Correct.
entrepreneur and
Hmm.
your business model,
Hmm.
he will not be biased by any personal, dimensions.
Correct. Sir, I recently met a client of mine who was
Mhm.
finishing his engineering. He said, "Sir, I'm confused between the campus placement or railway or SSC job, or I also have plans to have my startup." He asked me
Mhm.
what to do. Then
Mhm.
I want to tell you my view here. You can add on yours. I said him the most easiest option would be your campus, because campus is something where companies come, they have their goals and they take you all. The second easiest could be startup rather than SSC or railways, because SSC railways here in India, the success rate is 0.1%. Whereas if you start uh, exploring ideas, you learn a lot of skills. It could be digital marketing. You may end up earning coding, how to develop a product. So many things you end up doing for a year or two that you will be hired later also. What is your view on this, sir? Especially in India, sir, where students are trained with employee mindset and security mindset. So
Yeah.
these days, privatization is happening and students are scared. They're blaming government because there are no government job. What's your
Mhm.
advice for these students? Yeah, again, there is a myth in students' minds that if you are a coder, a developer, only then you can think of a startup. Is it necessary like that? Because there is edtech, there is fintech, there is a
No.
lot of techs coming off.
Yeah, yeah. So, no, that's a very narrow understanding of what a startup is.
And there are some important terms where all the startups use, especially these words like valuation. What's your
Mm.
valuation? What is dividend, equity? At least these three, if you can explain: valuation, equity,
Yeah.
dividend, and exit also. These four. So my next question is: I have an idea. So will I get funds only for my idea because I don't have any money? Will the
Mhm.
government fund me, or any angel investor just fund for my idea without me having any money? Okay. So now
Yeah.
regarding this co-founder thing, very important. I have seen a lot of funds being given to people who are having co-founders, which is a
Mhm.
private limited company. And I've
Mhm.
I've heard podcast of even Aman Gupta, the founder of Boat. Even he
Mhm.
said that he changed his life because of the co-founder, and he found his co-founder on LinkedIn. But in
Mhm.
reality, it's very difficult to find like-minded people, or people who have opposite skills, the trustworthiness. In this
Yeah.
case, I think even you had your friend there. But my experience, I have failed in this situation at least twice now.
No,
So what's your?
some partnerships work wonders. Some partnerships go some length and they don't work.
Hmm.
Like in our case, also we started great and we had a wonderful thought process. But one of the major missing link in our co-founding team between me and my co-founder and a great friend Nilesh is that both of us were exceptional in our own technical abilities, but we did not bring the complementary skills that were required for building a business.
Somewhere I'm feeling it is a gamble now these days to have co-founders believe in someone. It goes well, sir, but with time it might differ and there is huge conflict. Instead of running business, we just end up in courts.
Not necessarily. Again, there are some bitter stories, of course, and examples where it will deter you from thinking about a co-founder. But
the last two questions.
Yeah.
Okay. One is a view about Byju's is considered to be the highest valued company in India for startup, but it is also considered the most hated company. Everywhere you see the lot of videos made on Byju's being scams. And also, if you see all the 100 unicorns of India, the startups, 70% or more are still in loss. And how will a youngster get motivation to still start? Very simple question. What would you advise yourself if you were a 21-year-old now with the maturity and experience of yours? What would you advise Mr. Prakash himself, who is 21-year engineer who's out of college? Now, regarding mentors also, some students are afraid that to share their ideas to everyone, will they copy? In that case, what's your advice?
That's a stupid idea. They should get over it as soon as possible because, as I told you, ideas are dime a dozen. For every paisa, we should perhaps say ideas are paise a dozen. Every paisa you'll get dozen of ideas. There are hundreds of ideas. Somebody is a creative thinker. He can sit under a tree and keep churning ideas every minute. But those ideas have zero value unless they are executed. And fortunately, nobody other than the founder with the passion for that idea has the ability to execute that idea. No amount of money can replace the founder's passion and his ability to execute that idea. Hence, this whole thing of somebody copying the idea is down the drain. Even if somebody want to copy and let them go and do it, they will not be able to match the energy that you have. Only thing is you should not miss on seeking and getting all the resources that you need. You should not be slow. You should not be hesitant to ask for help. You should not be hesitant to get the right mentors, coaches, funding, investors, right customers, right infrastructure. All of it, you should go all out.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sure students and people who are listening might have enlightened to the next level, because I myself, not even as a youngster, even at this age, last year also, if I would have listened to this own podcast of ours, I would be enlightened to a larger level. Thank you so much, sir, for giving your time and your knowledge.
Thank you. Thanks for this session. I hope it will be beneficial to the students and wannabe entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching this podcast till the end. I hope this video, this content, this podcast added value in your life. Please like if you have liked the video, and please comment your opinion, your suggestions, and your views about this content. And please share it to your friends and especially to the students who wish to have startup as their career. Thank you very much.
Toastmaster Srinivas, you started wonderfully with a beautiful presentation. Whenever we make presentations, we always say, like, to avoid the number of words, beautifully you captured the pictures which intended to tell what you were supposed to share. What is the new generation? What are we moving up to? You started with the old Gurukulas and how we are progressing towards podcast and sharing the information. Wonderfully started with the PPTs. I truly appreciated your PPT, and the duration was restricted to 2 or 3 minutes. You beautifully utilized with the PPT to avoid to stuff a lot of information in that. That was good. Interesting and engaging project. This was the first time at KLS IMER for the past 3.5 years while I've been here. I think you're the first one who took up this project. It's an elective project. You took up this project and gave a beautiful podcast, I can say, interesting and engaging, not just the project, also the content, whatever you have covered, and also the podcast, the entire podcast, it was evident. You have carefully crafted or edited the video. I know your podcast, as you mentioned, it's more than 1 hour, but the way you pictured in 10 minutes, you have highlighted the questions more than you increase the curiosity in all the attendees to go, and as soon as I go back, I have to go and turn on this podcast to know the answers. You carefully crafted only pick the questions so that you maintain the curiosity of the audience. That was good. If I have to suggest a few suggestions, one was looking down. I'm not sure if you have noticed it, but as you move from here to here, you look down for a moment. As an audience, I will be connected with you with your eye contact, and once you move down your eyes, the connection is broken. Though I'm listening, I feel for a few seconds the connection is broken. You can avoid that maybe with practice. You have gradually practiced that looking down. As you move, you look down for a few seconds, you can correct that. And then frequent moments. There was frequent moments within 2 minutes. I think I felt a lot of moments here and there. You could have avoided that. These are the correct suggestions. And with respect to podcast, I felt an complete in-person podcast recording would have had a greater impact. I felt the audio of both were clear. I don't say that the podcast or the audio of Dr. Prakash was less clear. Both were clear, but still there was a difference in how you were audible, and slightly there was a difference in how he was audible. Provided both were in the same setup, the podcast would have had a greater impact. These are the suggestions. Apart from that, a wonderful project. Kudos to you on choosing an interesting elective. Great clarity, confidence with which you had to ask the questions, and lots of efforts and hard work behind the podcast was evident. Kudos, and back to you, General Evaluator.